I was 3 years out of college. I had an MD DC PT practice. I had 3 of them. I billed a ton. I made a ton of money. I invested a ton back into the practices. And I woke up one day 3 years out of college and I said, I hate my life. And my husband and I looked at each other and I said, I'm done. And we sold 3 practices for $1. And we drove across the country with a little Saturn, lost everything, you guys, every single thing we had. Had a little Saturn, a little moving truck, 2 little babies, and we drove across the country, and we moved to Colorado Springs. And God just opened the door crazy. But there's this guy named Aaron sitting here who had this thriving practice at the time, and he saw kids and babies, and I'm like, dude, what is the deal? And then I met these 3 guys sitting over here, Jeff and Tim and Ben and Jack, and they said, hey, welcome to town, we're going to do this. And they showed me that there was another way in chiropractic. And that's my people. Those guys saved my life because they intervened in a time that I needed it, right? Those are my people. And they said, hey, go to this conference. We love these guys. And it's a group you might have heard of called Maximize Living. And they're here. They got a booth. And I'll tell you what, guys, they saved my life. Because I walked out of a college not knowing anything about business, hiring, how to do cash, how to communicate the principle, what even the principle was. I went to Northwestern. Hopefully there's no executives from Northwestern here. But I knew a lot about core balancing. Did you guys in Tim's talk? I knew a lot about that. I worked for a guy that was a PT. I did my internship under a guy that was a PT. I didn't know anything. So I found my people. Those guys intervened, and they taught me from the ground up, what do you do? How do you do a doctor's report? What does it look like to do corporate wellness? What does it look like to be out in the community? Tomorrow morning, I have to drive back to Colorado Springs. Tomorrow morning, I don't know how I ended up here, I'm preaching a sermon at a church, like the actual service, on health. On health and chiropractic. Now there's times I think, do they know who I am? And letting me up in front of them. But that's huge, and it's because I found my people. Number 2 is I call it do a single leg. Any wrestling fans? Okay, so good, thank you, Scott. So I went, that's it? Seriously? That's it? That's all? Okay, yell if you're a wrestling fan. You guys are embarrassing me. And that you're embarrassing me. So you heard that I went to the 2012 Olympics with the USA wrestling team. And so I got a chance to hang out with these people and learn what excellence really is. Because, that's what I do, right? I had lunch with Tim O'Shea because I just want to know. I want to be that person that learns and learns and learns. So I'm hanging out with these 20-year-old Olympians who are the best in the world. And I asked them, what does it take to get here? And this is what they said. You do a single leg. Do you guys know what a single leg is? It's like the simplest, easiest, basic maneuver in wrestling. And so I asked Jordan Burroughs, who's by arguably the most decorated wrestler of all time other than Dan Gable. I asked him, I said, how did you get here? And he goes, I just did a single leg. Thousands upon thousands. I said, how many do you think you've done? He goes, I don't know, hundreds of thousands. Hundreds of thousands. So for us, number 2 principle is just do a single leg. You want to be over in this box? You do a single leg, day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. We have team training every week. We have huddles to get into state before practice. I have rituals in my life that I have to do in the morning to get into state before I go see patients. I have 1,000 things that are the mundane, redundant, every day, please, do I have to do this again, tasks. Anybody else have those? Okay. And the only way that I know to stay passionate and in this box is you do it with an excellence that those Olympians do. Guys, gold medals are cool, like holding on to them, having them, but these are people's lives that we're talking about. So every day, single leg, single leg, single leg, go in, same day 2, same day 1, same doctor's report, principle over and over and over again with passion. We can't afford to get complacent. If those guys backed off their training one little bit, would they be at the Olympics? No way. They don't.